All right, we live. Here we go.
All right.
Yeah. It's gonna be something else. All right. WHGE 95.3 FM. Coming up, the Open Eye.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. You got it right there. Yeah, that's it. Hold up, y'all. Hold up, y'all. Go ahead. Oh, I like that. Come in on that.
Do that. All right. Ready to get them started in a second here. All right.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Let's set that over there. All right, let's get them started.
Do it, y'all. Yeah.
Close that door first. Oh, I'm here with you. Okay.
Yeah. Put some bombs on. Oh, yeah. That funky now.
Let's see. Get my nose straight here. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Bessie, I see you, sister. All right, I see you, Bessie. Welcome to the show, sister. All right. Okay. Let's get them started again. Okay. Hey, Sherry. All right.
Those of us that indulge in or commit intellectual violence don't do so for the pleasure of mental masturbation or ego diddling. We do so because the chains of oppression on our people's minds are deep and difficult to remove.
Good morning, my children of the sun. Welcome to the Open Eye on WHGE 95.3 FM. I'm Patrice Gibbs, your third eye optometrist and host. Yes, indeed, ready to get them started, ready to get that open eye. You know what? We're going to start out a little tough here. I shared this with people before, but I want to go over it again because I've been seeing this time and time again. All right. This is from Jennifer Soldner, who is an author and life coach. And Miss Soldner, the author and life coach, says, when you think about another person as selfish or wrong, you are putting that negativity out there. You're saying that they are less than good, less than love. And when you believe that another human being can be less than love, you believe you too can be less than love. And so you will be. And that's from Jennifer Soldner, author and life coach. Don't you never, I don't care how long you've been around, don't you never go to no Jennifer Soldner for no life coaching. This hussy must be out her. You know what? This is that BS. What this does, this fails to recognize that some people are a negative force and are effed up. I'm on the air. And they don't deserve to be in your life. Even worse, this states that if you call people out for being effed up, you're effed up. Jennifer Sardner said this so-called life coach. And she's an author too. Don't buy her goddamn book. Because she's, look. Don't buy into that let's all hold hands and sing kumbaya. Because some people are effed up. And it is wise to recognize that and act accordingly. It's this kind of unrealistic BS that got our people in trouble. This is that BS. Jeez Louise, what's wrong with people? All right. You know what? Let me get my disclaimer in. All right, and we'll get back to some good stuff here. All right.
The views and opinions expressed on Open Eye are those of the hosts, guests, and contributors, and do not reflect the policy or position of WHGE 95.3 FM, nor our sponsor, the Delaware Center for Homeless Vets. Any content provided by Open Eye's hosts, guests, or contributors are theirs and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, company, or individual.
WHGE 95.3 FM. This is the Open Eye. Yo, I'm a classic movie fan. I like old movies. Now, one day, and I'll tell you that some of them are really difficult to watch. All right, you catch some of these movies from the 30s and 40s, and the way they portray black people is like, nah, you know. And I tell you, one of the old movie stars, he had one movie that I definitely was not enthused to watch, and that was Gone with the Wind. As Clark Gable. Right? Well, let me tell you something about Clark Gable. He did not hide his black and Native American heritage. You know, he lived as a white man, white passing. Okay? And it wasn't widely publicized. Now, when his Gone with the Wind co-star, Hattie McDaniel, who played Mammy, was not permitted to attend the premiere of Gone with the Wind in Atlanta, Georgia, he threatened to boycott it. When he saw color and white bathrooms on the set, he refused to continue working until all casts were treated equally. And that was Clark Gable, a movie star that, for the most part, his movies were really pretty good. I'm pretty sure he won an Oscar for well, actually, I know he won an Oscar. It was for a movie that, and this was interesting. Like I said, he didn't hide his heritage, and of course the movie studios didn't want that out there, and they would do things to try to punish him. And one of the things they did to punish him was to put him in, to loan him out to another studio, as he wouldn't shut up. So they lent him out to another studio, which, you know, put him in a movie that was probably, at the time it was being made, considered what they call a B movie. All right. And that movie was called It Happened One Night. Well, that's the movie he won an Oscar for. So their punishment didn't work out. All right. All right. I had posted on Facebook a video of this lady by the name of Hazel Scott. Okay? And of course, what I posted was, what y'all know about Hazel Scott. In the video, Miss Scott was playing two pianos at the same time, effortlessly. And it sounded great doing it. All right, well, now I'm going to give you some education on Hazel Scott. Jazz pianist and singer Hazel Scott was not only the first African-American woman to host her own television show. Whoa. Excuse me, y'all. My phone dropped down. Hey, Tracy. All right. To host her own television show, but she also bravely stood up to the House Un-American Activities Committee and the Hollywood Studio Machine. The gifted popular performer dazzled audiences in the U.S. and abroad with her jazzy renditions of classical works. And she was born in Port of Spain, Trinidad in 1920. And she was the only child of R. Thomas Scott, a West African scholar from England, and Alma Long Scott, a classically trained pianist and saxophonist. All right. And so that music was in her. Scott displayed her talents for music at an early age. And by the age of 3, Scott could play piano by ear. When her mother's music students would hit a wrong note, Scott would yelp with displeasure, "Ow!" You know, and I tell you, it was just amazing. If you haven't seen that video, go on my Facebook page and check it out. Okay, she appeared in several Broadway productions, and afterwards she moved to Los Angeles. Holy moly! And signed with RKO, which was, of course, a major movie studio. However, she immediately came up against the racist strictures of Hollywood, and she turned down the first 4 roles offered to her, all for singing maids. She wasn't playing no maid. She instead appeared as herself in 5 films. A sophisticated woman, you know, with immense musical talent, and insisted on the appropriate credit, Hazel Scott, as herself. And she also called for equal pay to that of her white counterparts. But of course, standing up to the studio's demands brought her film career to an end by 1945. Okay. She returned to New York City, where she began an affair with Harlem preacher and politician Adam Clayton Powell Jr. In 1944, Powell became the first African-American elected to Congress from New York. You know, they were a power couple in Harlem. Scott and Powell married the following summer amid great scandal because he divorced his previous wife just a few days before he married her. And it was with great fanfare. And the glamorous couple was the subject of intense media interest. Scott gave birth to their son, Adam Clayton Powell III, in 1946. In the summer of 1950, Scott made history as the first African-American to host her own television show. Hazel Scott the show aired for 15 minutes. This is 1950. They actually had 15-minute shows 3 times a week. You know, first in New York City and then nationally. And Scott played the mix of classics, jazz, and boogie-woogie blues, for which she was known. And the show actually earned good ratings. However, it came to an abrupt end after just a few months. Scott was named in the Red Channels, the pamphlet that listed the supposed communist sympathizers in entertainment. And Scott chose to testify before the House Un-American Committee. She wasn't scared. They accused her of performing for organizations with communist ties. You know, America was really tripping on the communist thing, man. And she had never heard of all but one of them, and said she was unaware of his political affiliation. She attested that she had supported a communist candidate for New York City Council years earlier, but claimed she was never a party member. Despite these denials and avowals, the Scott Show was canceled after a week. All right. She went on to move to Paris, all right, in 1957, and she joined the Black expatriate community there. Her home became a gathering place for African-American musicians and artists. During this time, Scott was briefly married to a Swiss-Italian comedian by the name of Ezio Bedin. She returned to the U.S. in 1967, but of course, by that time, the peak of her fame was behind her. The music scene had moved on from jazz and blues to Motown and British pop. Still, Scott performed in small clubs for her fan base, made a few recordings, even took some small roles in soap operas. She died in 1981, just a few months after her final performance. And as I said, she was just a hell of a talent. And if you get a chance, definitely look her up. Look her up on YouTube. Because not only was she a great talent, but she was really a gorgeous lady. WHGE 95.3 FM. When we return, we will be joined by Nsoromma. 3 FM, you are our sponsor. Going up there, y'all. Don't worry about it. I got
Blank
you.
air. You ain't got nothing up.
Yeah, I had some.
Blank
music
air,
up.
Pat.
Yeah, that's right. All right.
It's blank air. You're not supposed to have blank air.
I know. We'll be like. What's up, bro? Ciao, 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 ciao. Yeah, but.
Yeah. Yo, Jerry, Betsy, yo, Arubu, what's good? Hey, you know what I mean? Hey, yo, Pat, Tracy, hey, yo, what's good? You know what it is.
Yes.
Keep going, don't stop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, buddy. WHGE 95.3 FM. This is the Open Eye. Good morning, Nsoromma in the house.
Good morning, my brethren. Good morning, my brethren.
All right. Good to see you, brother. That's where. Of
Well,
course, you know, we're still in Black History Month.
Oh,
Of course, that don't mean, you know, a big deal to us. Of course, we
Right.
celebrate it and what have you. But we give you history every week.
That's right.
We celebrate our history all the damn time.
That's right.
Because our history is something else.
That's right.
That's what it is. Bro,
Yo,
I asked you something. You know?
what? What's up?
You like macaroni and cheese?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Especially when my mom made it, you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Yeah, I like macaroni and cheese.
They-
I can't do it too much now. I'm older. I'm lactose tolerant now, so I don't really mess with it like that.
Yeah,
But I love it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I heard that. Well, you know what I say about when people say they're lactose tolerant.
What's that?
No, you're not. You're just not a baby cow.
Oh, okay. What's good, though?
Yeah, buddy. Well, like I said, okay. Look, first let me say this. My family is big on macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
And they had a certain recipe that they used until my Aunt Jenny, who was my grandmother's younger sister,
Right.
married Uncle Richard. You know, Uncle Richard made macaroni and cheese. And that's been the family recipe ever since.
Oh, okay.
Raise your hand if you were ever told Thomas Jefferson introduced macaroni and cheese to the United States. Raise your hand. Yeah, somebody told you that BS? Yeah, it's a tale.
Thomas Jefferson?
Yeah, it's a tale many Americans recognize.
Wow.
And one that surely elevates the third president in the eyes of children who credit him with their
Wow.
favorite food. Because, you know, kids love some macaroni and cheese.
Wow.
Mhm.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, however. Yeah.
Wow.
Like many stories from history, this one is BS. Yeah. The New York Times actually revealed that the first American to make the beloved dish, macaroni and cheese, was James Hemings. That last name can sound familiar. I'm going to tell you why in a minute.
Okay.
James Hemings was also credited with introducing creme brulee, meringue, like a lemon meringue pie.
Right.
Yeah, and whipped cream to the States. Hemings was the first American chef to train in culinary mecca of France. He was also Thomas Jefferson's slave. Yeah.
Oh, so that's how Thomas Jefferson got even involved in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They always used to take our ideals and patent them,
Yeah.
and that's how they got
And
to
that's
be
how
the
they got
owners of it. Really, that's how black
Yeah.
people. That's how we have originally made mostly all the things that's going on in the world right now, because we was the ones that was having to make it anyway, and they just was patenting it and stealing it. You
That's
know?
what. You know. And of course, he made a lot of other dishes and what have you. You know. Now, Hemings was skilled at both reading and writing from a young age, which was rare, because there were anti-literacy laws
Right.
in most of the southern states that made it illegal to teach enslaved people to read or write. Hemings was only 19 when he was brought by Thomas Jefferson to Paris after Jefferson was appointed America's trade minister in 1784. Jefferson wanted a personal chef trained in the art of French cuisine.
Right.
So he sent Hemings to an apprentice at the Chateau de Chantilly.
Chateau de la Chantilly.
The Chateau de Chantilly.
Chateau de la
Chantilly.
Chantilly.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And the chateau's kitchen was regarded as having some of the finest chefs in France. And like I said earlier, and he went there and he learned quite a bit and became one of the top chefs in the country. Right? And like I said, he was Tommy Jefferson's slave, James Hemings. The reason that name sounds familiar,
right,
because his younger sister was Sally Hemings, who, Thomas Jefferson who bore 6 children.
Wow.
Yeah, from Thomas Jefferson. She probably had her first child when she's like 14, 15 years old.
And none of that was consensual, right?
She was a slave. Hell no, it was not consensual.
Okay, I just...
Yeah. You just, 40
some
years
people
old.
Think it,
there was
and plus she was only 14.
She was 14.
Pedophile,
Yep, and that's why I mentioned she was 14.
Wow.
Because he was a sorry-ass pedophile. Raped her for years, and she bore him 6 children. Now, I saw something interesting on video not too long ago. And that was the descendants of Sally Hemings and Thomas Jefferson. The black descendants.
Right.
Okay. And a couple of them was actually white or white passing. Okay. They seem to show a certain level of pride that they were the children of Thomas Jefferson, or the descendants of Thomas Jefferson. They were on the video at Monticello,
right,
Thomas Jefferson's historical home, which was built by black slaves. Okay, they were on, like I said, on this video, on the grounds. And I'm the 5th great-grandchild of Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings. And they said it with pride and big smiles and what have you. Well, when this first came out,
right,
it was really controversial to the white descendants of Thomas Jefferson, who did not want to recognize the descendants of his
half brothers and sisters.
Yeah, of his slave concubine, Sally Hemings. Okay, they didn't want to recognize them.
Right.
Eventually they did, and these people fought to be recognized by their white cousins and what have you. Let me ask you something. How in the hell you take pride, okay, and running around with these big smiles on your face, knowing that you are the grandchildren of a rapist? There's nothing to be proud about in that. It makes me think of the colorism in our community. All right? When I was coming up, I can remember light-skinned kids and kids that weren't as dark as me, all right, teasing me for being dark-skinned. As if their light skin was something to celebrate. Okay? But it was their ignorance that they were celebrating. Because their ignorance told them that their light skin made them better than me. What their ignorance didn't tell them was that they were the descendants of rapists. That their great-grandmother was raped by a white, greasy-ass, nasty slave master or overseer, and had no choice but to bear these bastards' children. You're out your damn mind running around. I'm the proud descendant of Thomas Jefferson South. Cut that crap.
Hey, listen, man. Bamboozled, man. They was bamboozled.
They were bamboozled.
Ragamuffin.
Yeah.
Led astray.
Big time.
You know what I mean? So,
but there's enough knowledge out here
for you to find it, the cell phone.
For you to find it. Yeah. You're walking around with a handheld computer.
But they in it for the MONEY, the money.
Well, yeah, they in it for the
so
MONEY.
They gonna be happy, smiling faces, trying to get this lawsuit off.
Mm-hmm.
No,
they're not. They didn't sue for money.
What?
No.
What?
No. They sued to be recognized as children or descendants of Thomas Jefferson.
That's money in itself. What do you mean?
It depends on the color of your skin.
But I'm saying that
okay.
once they say, okay, say they would say, okay, y'all can do that.
Mhm.
Now they really can go get whatever they think is owed to them.
No. We ain't got no reparations. Okay,
No,
you know what they
I was
got?
thinking on just that.
You know what they got?
Being part of the family.
Oh.
Being recognized as part of the family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To be
Yeah.
able to go get what is rightfully owed to them as a family member.
What they would have inherited.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
well, they didn't inherit a goddamn thing.
Woo!
Okay? Because Thomas Jefferson was a sorry-ass businessman who died penniless and in debt. So he didn't leave his descendants nothing.
Wow.
You know what they sued for?
But
Like I said, they sued to be recognized.
as a Jefferson.
Yeah. Okay? And they sued to be able to attend the picnic.
What?
Yeah. You stupid ass people. Yeah. That's what it was. That's what you know what? Y'all can go to hell with that. That's what you know, because I can remember when I came in and I was a kid and I was upset that 12 years old kids would call me Black Pat. I came in and flopped down on the couch at my grandmother's house. And what's wrong, baby? Kids keep calling me Black Pat. I wish I was light skinned. Oh, she said, let me tell you something. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because you know why you dark? Because your great-grandmother wasn't raped by the slave master like them light-skinned kids. You really should be sad for them. You should feel sorry for them, okay? Because of what their great-grandmother suffered, all right? Your darkness is a blessing and an honor. You were burnt in God's own furnace. WHGE 95.3 FM, the Open Eye.
Yeah. Bessie, I'm bagging up too, yo. Yo, Cupcake Boulevard, what's good? What's good? I see you. You got the best macaroni and cheese. Oh, all right, we gotta see. I don't eat everybody's food. First, I gotta see the kitchen. And you know what I mean? What the kitchen look like? Take a picture, send it there. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I know you got the cupcakes. What's good though?
WHGE 95.3 FM.
Yeah.
Open Eye.
That's
You
right.
know, look.
What's that?
One of the craziest things, I don't know how many you probably have by now heard of racist Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of the worst racists to sit in Congress. This crazy ass hussy.
Boo, boo.
Oh my gosh, she's something else. She really should not be. And she was part of the insurrection, because I think she gave the insurrectionists some tours. She really needs to be indicted for traitorism. And she's actually calling for a civil war. She said that blue and red states need to have a divorce. They need to be separated. But here was the crazy thing she said.
What?
She said crazy stuff all the time because she's nuts. All right. She said, if I were black people today,
Right.
all right, I would be proud that the monuments of Confederates were there so I could point to them and say how far I've come.
That's why she ain't black.
You got that right. You got that right, because we lot of lynch her ass. It's the craziest thing in the world to me for our oppressors
Right.
to tell us how we should feel about the oppression that they committed on us. Marjorie Taylor Greene, go to hell. Are you kidding? And she put this out there like she said something really slick and smart, which to her racist followers she actually did to them. They think that, and that's the craziest thing in the world. It shows how stupid these people are, right? That they actually think that an idiot, a goddamn moron, like Marjorie Taylor Greene is actually somebody smart. She's not. It reminds me of what George Carlin said. All right?
That's my boy, man.
I heard that. You got stupid, ignorant people voting. You're going to get stupid, ignorant people
In the position.
In the position. in office.
Yeah.
And if there's anything that Marjorie Taylor Greene is, she's stupid and ignorant.
Wow.
That's where.
I mean,
you know? Man.
it's just some stuff that they say is so ridiculous, and you can't believe it comes out their mouth sometimes.
You know, it is, man. It's just
They don't
amazing.
think about what they say,
No.
what they're going to say, and they just blurt out with it, and it's crazy.
You know, it's
Wow.
like they didn't read the instructions that came along with your mouth. Engage brain before you open your mouth.
Right.
You know, that's where, and we have some people in our community
Right.
that don't engage their brain before they open their mouth. You know, like this crack, oh, black on black, oh, bro, you know, I'm savage. I'm savage. Nah, you know what? You were never meant to be a savage, brother. Or a thug. That mentality was taught to you by white men who despise your masculinity. Okay? Despise your masculinity. You know, because ain't nothing as manly as a black man. Actually, you're a god by nature. You're strong and you're moral by nature, brothers. You're kind, respectable, and merciful by nature. You are actually a product of peace and righteousness. Don't take on the identity of a beast just to deny your identity as a god, your royalty and your righteousness. Understand that. Too many of us don't know that and feed into the crap and the propaganda that's put on us by our oppressor.
But when you getting bombarded by something so much and so long, you begin to think and believe that that's you.
Yeah.
And after a minute, they told me on Roots did that, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They beat him till he changed his name.
Beat him till he changed his name.
Now what?
You know?
I mean, you
You
either
know?
gotta endure the pain or die.
That's it.
And
That's it.
most people give in.
Yeah.
Oh, my name is.
Yeah.
I'll be what you want me to. Who you need me to be?
Mhm.
All right.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's a shame because what has happened
Right.
is we now have people that are actually apprehensive to give their children cultural names because they know
Get
that
them and not have a job and
not have a
put
job.
them in the
Right.
put them in the realm.
right. And I'm not talking about names like Marvin Saskawia or Marvaretta or
No,
crap
you
like
mean ancestral names,
I mean,
right?
and some of the ancestral names, that's words.
Who?
Remember, my name is Patrice.
Right.
And I was never afraid, even though my first name, Patrice, is actually of French-Belgian origin. But I was named after Lumumba, and I would tell you that quick when I was 6 years old.
Right.
That's where, don't be ashamed to be who we are.
They trying to erase that. They finding out that they finding Sphinx and stuff like that in the Grand Canyon. We were way further than just Egypt.
Oh, yeah.
We were like all over the
We
planet.
were world travelers.
Yes.
And you look at some of the museums
Right.
in Egypt and what have you, in some of the tombs, okay, and they have ships. You know that these ships, they were, they get the idea that, the Europeans get the idea that Africans were building canoes and that. No. These people were world travelers. As far back as the ancient Egyptians, as far back as Kemet and what have you.
Right.
Okay?
They
were
had
world
mega
travelers.
big things. And it
Right.
wasn't nothing little.
It wasn't nothing little.
Right.
They built on grand scale.
Right.
All right. They built ships that could carry obelisks. Okay, that were 7 tons. And they built ships that would carry 2 obelisks up the Nile. Okay. All right. So that's not building on a small scale.
Right.
That's not built at all. And like you were saying, Nsoromma, they are trying to teach or trying to clamp down education.
Right.
Okay, to such an extent that not only do they not want us to know, okay, but they don't want their own children to know the dirt that they did. Imagine your history is so grimy and slimy and effed up
Right.
All right, that you will pass laws to keep people from learning about it.
And I think it's catch to that too. I think it's also they don't want their kids to not think that they're not superior.
Right. Right.
They want them to keep that DNA stamp in their mind and think that it's okay.
Right.
Because if they learn their history and you had a right to your own opinion and the way you feel about everything, and as we've seen over the years how white kids is calling themselves the N-word now and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That our style and our creativity and all our blackness just tends to seep into whatever it may be,
and it always has,
right? And what they don't want their
children,
right, to really know and feel is sympathy for us.
Oh, no.
So if you don't read and know what really has been done and the way it has been done and why it's been done for no reason,
other than the color of our skin.
Right, that's no reason. Again, you know what I'm saying. So they'll form their own opinion about even their parents. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, you can do that? Because it's a new era. Whereas though you got white kids and every color messing with each other. They don't know if they girls or boys. I mean, you can pick who you want to be. Like, this is the society that's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if we hide all the information, it'll be Sodom and Gomorrah again. And that's what it's coming about. Did you hear, not to stop, but did you hear what the boy Putin said about the United States in his last speech?
No.
About how United States is doing all of these things that's not of the Bible, Adam and Eve, and he really snapped about that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you a little later about what America's real religion is, because it's not Christianity. Let me tell you about Texas. All right. When you think about Texas, you think about cowboys and Indians and John Wayne and rodeo.
I think about horses,
horses and what have you. Don't forget, Texas is a southern state and a slave state and was all the damn time. One of the most racist places in the damn country.
And they don't hide the racism.
Oh, no.
So me being from the city, I couldn't live there.
Oh, no.
I'll get in trouble down there.
Man.
Right. I'll get in trouble down there.
In Dallas, Houston.
All of that'll get me shot. And they got the right to carry, and they carry.
Yeah.
That's why they still feel like they can do that. But now.
Well, let me tell you about Texas. New diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives in Texas colleges are paused now, due to increasing pressure from Republican state legislators, including the state's Republican governor, Greg Abbott, and his administration. Greg Abbott is nothing but a white supremacist, racist son of a bitch. Okay. The University of Texas system, which has 13 institutions and more than 244,000 students, has suspended such initiatives following a February 4th warning to state agencies from the governor's office that diversity, equity, and inclusion considerations in hiring are prohibited and violate state and federal anti-discrimination laws. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let's go over that again. Diversity, equity, and inclusion considerations violate state and federal anti-discrimination laws. Okay, now is that some convoluted backward ass crap if you ever heard it? So we're going to prohibit diversity, equity, and inclusion because it's discriminatory to include and be equitable and be diverse. That's what they're basically saying. Let me tell you how deep this goes. And I get this from Sister Victoria Alexander, who is a PhD candidate. Right. All right. And she was talking to, she was in a meeting with a University of Texas system professor. All right. And she was told They are trying to ban a word.
Just the one word?
Just one word. They want to ban this word. They're actually bringing up legislature to ban this word. And professors at universities where adults, grown-ass people, go to learn.
Word.
And the professors use this word. There are a series of things that can happen to them. They can be punished or disciplined. They could be fired. They could be demoted. And they can even be sent to jail. This is what they're planning. There's also a hotline where people can call and tattle on professors who use this word to try to get them fired or sent to jail. And this is how deep this is now. All right?
That's called entrapment.
Yeah. Well, it's called snitching.
Yeah.
I mean, if you say the word and the student goes and calls on you, they just basically ratted you out for using the word. The University of Texas system is projected to spend $6 million on these policies and the enforcement of it. $6 million they're going to spend on some racism. Oops. What is this word that the University of Texas system does not want said that can warrant jail time and cost $6 million to enforce? What is the reason I say oops? Because the word is racism. Yeah. So if they bring a public speaker like Sister Victoria Alexander, all right, to the campus, all right, if they bring her to teach, they can't be her bio because her bio says that she's an anti-racism educator. See, throughout world history, even in fiction, the people who are sending people to prison for their knowledge for truth are actually evil. All right? Look, this is something that they've always done. All right? Go back into Middle Age Europe.
Right.
The last thing they wanted was people educated. The last thing they wanted was the populace educated. Even now, okay, our public education system, all right, is not about enlightenment. It's about teaching you to run the machine. That's all it's really about. That's what it was about. You know, you had to know your ABCs, okay? This is when the industrial age started here in this country. That's when the real public education started. And all they really wanted you to learn was how to run the machines. So you needed to be able to say ABC and count to 15 to be able to run the machine. What they didn't want was you learning history and philosophy and anything beyond the skills needed to enhance their pockets. Okay? Y'all better wake up and understand. See, especially in this day and age, children are not taught to think. They're taught to remember. Okay? We were taught to think. We were taught to figure things out. We were given a formula to expand on. What they're given now is rote. That means remember, 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 write it down, okay? Where does the widget go? It goes in the socket, all right? That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know is where the widget goes. It goes in the socket. Okay, we'll pay you $15 an hour. Go to hell. God, boo. WHGE 95.3 FM. Help.
You said help. Help. Y'all got, yo, what up, somebody? No stop for life, boy, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Hey, yo, Chuck, what's good? You know what it is. Jared, it's because Texas, they don't have the Juneteenth. Oh, they don't have Juneteenth in Texas?
Oh, yeah, that's where Juneteenth started.
Oh. It's because of Texas that we have June. Oh, he said it's because of Texas. Right. Oh, okay, yeah. Absolutely. All right.
Yeah, that's right. You know, buddy.
They always want what we have without paying for it. Oh, she can kiss my boo. Hey, Bessie, what you talking, girl? Go ahead. Yo.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. All right.
WHGE 95.3 FM. I'm Patrice Gibbs.
I'm Nsoromma in the building.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. Now, you know, something that has recently been coming to the fore that I've been noticing.
Right.
And that is the schism that is going on between Africans in the diaspora and Africans in the motherland. Right? One of the main proponents of this schism between our people, because we are one, all right, has been the brother that made the Hidden Color films, Tariq Nasheed.
Okay.
Now, I would tell you, and I've told you this before, the Hidden Color films are really good. I really like them. He did a great job on these films. Okay. Here's where me and this brother part company. All right? And that we have no relationship to Africa. We part company there. All right? And one of the things that he is promoting, he's calling Africans in America foundational Black Americans. All right? And this is to cause the schism between blacks in America and blacks everywhere else. And that is his goal, you know, and I think that really sucks. And shame on the brother, because he's such an intelligent brother. But basically what he's done with this foundational Black America stance is he's built a cult of followers, okay, who show animosity to our brothers and sisters from Africa or from the Caribbean or from South America.
Right.
All right. Shame on you for doing that, brother. Shame on you. And one of the things that comes out of that is that you got a lot of black people that are following him saying we are native Black Americans. We are Native Americans, okay? Let me tell you something that a lot of y'all are not aware of. All 5 of the major Native American tribes were involved in the slave trade, okay? They were surrogate white supremacists. And even after the Civil War, they still were not willing, where they got their reservations and what have you, they still were not willing to recognize the humanity of the dark-skinned brothers. Now, you had some Native American tribes.
I thought Native Americans were black anyway.
No.
I mean, from the beginning.
No.
That only came around after the fact that, you know, where did the color Indian come from?
Okay,
mixing the black and white.
You had some melanated Native Americans. You had some melanated Native Americans, okay? Just like you had some melanated Asians. The Native Americans are Mongolians from Asia, all right? And even though they're melanated, okay? You know what?
Does melanated make you black?
Melanated gives you skin color, okay? But that does not make you African, okay? Because you look at some melanated people with straight hair. What I teach you about straight hair? It's not hair, it's fur, and you got it from them goddamn Neanderthals. Okay?
Bigfoot.
You got Bigfoot. Yeah. Yeah. You got it from them Neanderthals. So, you know, you got some of that mixed up in you. But don't get it mixed. Don't get it mixed. Okay? Because some of these, now you have some Native American tribes that would buy slaves and make them part of their tribe. Okay? But the 5 major tribes were white supremacist surrogates. Don't get that mixed. Don't feed into this fantasy. And for those of you on that FBA stuff, stop making stuff up, because our history is glorious enough that you ain't got to make nothing up. Okay? We are an extraordinary people.
But that's how I do. That's the same thing. History and religion like run on the same path of myths and, you know,
misinformation
and myths. A lot of them.
Mythology. Yes,
yeah.
indeed,
So
bro.
I mean, everybody's gonna take their own little piece away from whatever it is they think they thinking about. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. That they are.
So that's why we try to be here to give you the closest real to the real that we can possibly get to give to you.
You know? And it's really tough because there's a lot of false information out there. You know? And the thing is, Some of us need guidance to navigate through some of the crap and mythology and what have you, you know, that some of our own people are putting out. And I'm going to name on some of these people right now. Okay? The crazy ass Hebrew Israelites who believe in the Bible and try to claim that King James was a Moor. No, he wasn't. Stop claiming nasty ass people. King James of England was a pedophile, homosexual, rapist, murderer. This was an awful person. Don't claim him. What's wrong with you? Same thing with the Moors who tell us that black equals death. All right? Well, the Moors copied their holy book out of the Circle 7 Quran. All right? They copied it from the agrarian. It's plagiarized from the agrarian gospel of Jesus. All right? It's plagiarized. And they got called out on it. And they got called out on it so strong that they had to put a disclaimer in their holy book. Okay, your word of God comes with a disclaimer. Guess what? Your religion is trash. That's the word. Your religion is trash.
Why you say that when we come on with a disclaimer?
Oh, we come on with a disclaimer. We come on with a disclaimer to let people know that we ain't shooting nobody down.
Right.
Or our disclaimer don't include crap like, well, we got this from somebody else and we didn't tell you earlier. So you're telling me now.
That's what I'm trying. Just break down the disclaimer. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's why the religion is trash. That's word. You know, and I could go on and on with some of these groups. But I got to ask y'all, why is the African in America the most abused, most oppressed African in all of the diaspora?
Because we ain't fighting back.
No, that's not the reason.
I don't see us going to our guns and running in people's cribs and
No,
straightening out the
doing
situation and giving it to them like they give it to us. They run in our cribs. And hey,
we're murdered daily. I believe in that. We're murdered daily, enslaved, economically oppressed. We're hated throughout the world, which is because of the propaganda that the European put out there about us. Because despite all the African American has suffered, he is the most resilient, the most dangerous of all Africans in the world. And if he ever truly reconnects with Africa and takes what he has home, the world will be turned upside down. Understand this and why. Okay? All right? The African in America, all right, we're the most highly trained of any African in the world. And we're trained in the art of war, specifically in the technique of the combined strike. I'm a veteran. I know what that is. Okay? That is the technique to strike from the land, air, and sea. All right? Immediately after World War II, the African America had the skill to produce the most dangerous air force on the planet. Make no doubt about that, bar none. All right? It's not conjecture. It's not hyperbole. I'm not making that up. It can be stated without prejudice. The Tuskegee Airmen were the absolute best. This is why the African in America is set for destruction. Because if he ever weds, like I said, his skill and training to the continent of Africa, the world's going to be a very, very different place. Why is this not happening? The African America's mind has been trained into dependency and illusion. That's why we do what we do. He has been fooled into believing he could not manage a state. We can. This was always our talent. We taught everybody else how to do it. All right? And this is really a fairly recent phenomenon because during mainstream white society, the African American created his own society, schools, businesses, institutions. We were a nation within a nation. And when they saw how well we were doing, they came and destroyed it. All right? Some of us fought back. Don't get it mixed. Okay? The summer of 1919, the bloody summer of 1919, the reason that these riots and these attacks on black people stopped was because we fought back. We had black men who have been in World War I. And they turned their guns and skills on these white people, and they shut that down. All right? So we do fight back. Should the African in America...
Well, we just stopped?
Well, no, actually we haven't stopped. What's happened is many of us have become complacent and comfortable within. See, you got too many of us that are not looking to make a change. What we are looking for is for a comfortable niche within the system of global white supremacy. And that's been our biggest problem. Okay? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you, give you this right here. All right? Yeah. It's called indoctrination. All right? It's called indoctrination. Racism is America's true religion. Every white person is indoctrinated. That is taught to hate and fear black people. Through school, through the media, through the propaganda, they are taught black people are detrimental to society and worthy of death. That's their mindset.
And not only them, neither. They teach that to African people that's coming from Africa, that's coming into our country. Mm-hmm. They show videos of black people here doing robbing and stealing and pickpocketing and all of that kind of stuff to them when they get off the plane.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So this is not only they making us look bad to the white people, they making us look bad to every other person that don't know about us in America.
Right.
So
that's where
that crazy.
Yeah,
man?
that is.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
When J. Edgar Hoover, the head of the FBI, the top cop in the country, gets asked, yes, what is the biggest threat to America? He didn't say crime or the mafia. He didn't say drugs or war. He said the unification of black people.
Wow.
Let that sink in.
Yeah.
If you don't understand global white supremacy, everything else will confuse you. Think. It's still legal. Right? It's still legal.
But that's what they're doing. They taking the ability away from you to think. You know?
Yes, indeed.
By all of these distractions. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Every time you go to think, it's another distraction that make you think about something else.
Right.
Yeah. You know?
That's right.
And
it's hard to think when your day is caught up in survival.
Right.
All right? You know? Black power. Yes, indeed. Black power, by all means. That's neither racist. It's not about hatred of others. Actually, it's a spiritual way of life promoting self-love, determination, and the well-being of our people. And we must never allow anyone to discourage this. This is Open Eye, WHGE 95.3 FM. And like we always tell you, destiny determines who enters your life, but you decide who stays.
Yeah.
Therefore, value those who value you, and don't treat those as a priority.
Who treat you as an option.
Thanks for joining us. WHGE 95.3 FM.
Yaga!
Open Eye.
Yo! You know what it is? Time be like flipping! Hey yo, Jared, yo, Betsy, Missy, Chuck, Maya. Thanks for tuning in. You know what it is. Nsoromma in the building. You know what I'm saying? Here you go, Pat.
All right. Hey, like I always tell you, global African supremacy, black power. Black power. Because the world was a hell of a better place when we were running it. Don't forget that. All right.
Yo, Nsoromma streaming on platforms. You know what I'm saying? We'll get that. Yaga!